Hi again. Okay, I've got another tip for you. This is a little bit more related to the first two tips on, in particular, opening up the front of our body, our pec system, the front of our shoulders, and releasing some tension in the upper back. Okay, so I'm going to show you two new ways. A lot of that was standing, and this is going to be lying down. If you have a foam roller, I'm going to show you how to do that. So for those in my props class and those that have used a foam roller, so this is 6 inches, 3 feet, soft white foam. This is the old school version, a lot softer than some of the new stuff. You can pad it if it's too much for your spine, but pretty much works quite well, especially for what I'm about to show you. If you don't have a foam roller, then I'm also going to show you how to use a rolled up blanket, about the same length. Okay, so here we go. Come on down to the floor with me, and we'll get this rolling. Okay, so first things first is you center up your foam roller. You start at the very end. Actually, I'm going to come the other way. And there's, I'm going to come the other way. Okay. All right, so you start seated at one end, all the way down there. Yes, your butt crack. Yes. And then you walk your spine down slowly. And then you find center. Oh, lovely. Okay, so what's wonderful about the foam roller for this particular stretch is that it gets your torso up 6 inches, obviously, and it allows your shoulders to open behind you, if you will, from a relaxed place. So you just want to make sure you're on your roller. Your feet are going to stay down for this stretch. Your pelvis is centered. Make sure you're in between your shoulder blades and then centered of the head. Okay, so the first things first is just to allow the elbows, hopefully the elbows can touch the floor, right? And then as you stretch and get better at this, see if you can relax your forearms back into what we, call in class our goalpost position. All right, so you just want to melt here and breathe and allow the opening of all of this tissue. Let your neck relax. Let your shoulder blades melt back there. Okay, so that's the beginning of this idea. I'm going to bring you back out of this. I'm going to do another, a little massage for your shoulder blades first. So let's bring your arms back just straight up. And you're just going to do some shoulder rolls, just like we would do standing. Just do your shoulder rolls. Kind of looks like a little arm circle, but think about your shoulders coming up, forward, up, back, and down. Forward, up, back, and down. And just allow the massage. So you should be feeling your shoulder blades, like the inner crest of your shoulder blades, rubbing up against the roller, hopefully. And the more you do it, hopefully the more you'll feel that. All right, and then you can slowly bring your arms overhead a little bit more and go more into an arm circle. A little bit more range. Feel all of that getting a little massage. And then reverse. Breathing. Exhaling. Draw that chin down so you're getting some nice length in the spine there. Good. And now I'm going to have you just take your little alternating arms. Now just go slow here. They may or may not touch the floor, especially above. Don't worry about that. Just gentle. You can cut short the movement. It's just really about the back right now and getting those shoulder blades loosened up. All right. Then you can take the arms just like right around where your ears are. You can keep your elbows soft here. And do your shoulder circles again with your arms above you a little bit more. And you are going to get into the trapezius area where you want your massage therapist to work all the time. Well, look who can actually do this on their own now, right? It's not quite the same, I know, as a massage therapist. I know, but in a pinch, this is a really good go-to. All right? Okay. So now, hopefully you feel all this tissue in the back just tingling with yumminess. All right, we're going to come back to that goalpost, elbows. And now allow the forearms to go back. See if the wrists will touch. See if your fingers will touch. Breathe and let that go. Then once you stretch there for a while, I'm going to have you inch the elbows up a little bit more on a diagonal. So a diagonal pattern, just like I mentioned in the first tip, the tissue runs on an angle right here through your pec minor and pec system that hooks into the arm. So this diagonal is a good angle for stretch. Breathe. Let them melt. And let the back of the shoulder and the upper back melt. Then you're going to inch them a little bit more. Allow the shoulder blades to drop down around your roller as you bring them up a little higher. Keep your elbows bent. Breathe. And inch them a little bit more. See if they will cross even your hands, or even if your hands will meet a little bit above your head on the floor. And this may or may not work out for your shoulders, and that's okay. You just do what you can do and allow the stretches in the positions that feel right for you, and that's good enough. And then maybe in time they'll open up more. Okay? So then just gently, slowly bring them back, a little inch at a time, back to your goalpost. Now another thing to check is your inward rotation. So that was all outward rotation. Here's your inward rotation. See if you can go palms down. And then check your outward rotation, palms up. So again, that's if both elbows can touch, great. If they're hovering a bit, just allow the stretch. And don't force any of this. It's more about relaxing and allowing. Okay? All right. So let's come back out of that for a moment and just let that wiggle around. You can always come back to your shoulder shrugs if anything gets too kind of annoying or tingling for you. And then I was just going to show you one more here where we've been working on our standing upper back strength. But this is another way to do it by opening up more in a passive position. So I'm going to have you come to that goalpost position. Again, right out from your shoulders and then palms back. Okay, feel those shoulder blades dropping back and down. All right, so one more here. This is a little bit more a slight combo of stretch and strengthen, where you're going to slowly slide the arms along that same pathway we did. You can just touch your fingertips, your first two fingertips, and bring them back. And then you could go again. So it's just more about sliding and staying open and relaxed in the full range now. Almost full range. All right, so that's one. It's just to touch your first two fingers together. Now here's another version. If that's going okay, then you can start in goalpost, do the same idea. But instead of stopping at your fingertips, you can slowly slide and see if you can. You're gonna have to probably lift your forearms a little bit and touch your opposite elbows, and then relax them back down to your goalpost. So it's a slide, and then you can alternate your forearms. Slide, opposite elbow touch, and then let them drop, right? So we get much tighter in that higher range. So you might not, I can't at this point. I'm pretty pliable back there, but I can't quite touch the floor right there. Probably just a little bit off, but I'm just going with it. And then when I can touch the floor again, I'm allowing that. And then I just alternate. So this is another just kind of a passive way to get the front open in that same exercise that we've been doing in class. All right, and then bring those back. Woo! Good, good. Then to get off, you just plop right on off your foam roller. Ease up. I'm going to get that out of the way, and then I'm going to show you this version. Not quite as delicious as the foam roller, but if you don't have one and you still really want to enjoy this stretch, then you roll up a nice blanket, right, of some kind, and you do the same thing. You just put it right there on the floor, and then you're going to do the same idea. Now, you may or may not have one long enough for your spine, but do the best you can, or add an extra pillow here if you, if it's not quite long enough for your whole spine. But you want to be supported from head to tail as much as you can. And so this is not going to be up quite as high because it smushes, but that's okay. I mean, even just a little bit for some of us is still good because it gets our chest lifted, our spine up, and then you can try the same nice stretches. So here's your goalpost. You can even do, because, there's still some room there, you can do your shoulder shrugs, circles, you can do your arm circles, and feel maybe not as much of a massage, but a little bit of a drop back of the blades more than they would on the floor or standing. So you still get a little bit, right? And then you can do your goalpost. You can do your inward-outward rotation. You can do your high angle stretch. Keep the neck relaxed. You can inch it up. And actually here, because you're not quite as high, you should be able to do your fingertips and slide down and fingertip touch and slide and fingertip touch. And then you can also continue on and tap the opposite shoulder, or opposite elbow, and then slide down. Opposite elbow and slide down. You might have to still lift up the one, right, to go over, and then let it hit the ground as soon as you can. Good. And then you can also this is a little bit easier to just stretch overhead also. But if that's too much, just soften the elbows a little bit. It's more, the focus really for the stretch is more from the shoulder to the elbow and allowing all of this to open up. Okay, so don't worry too much about things lifting too much there. All right. And so that then is another way, and you can always do straight arm across or high angles with straight elbows, maybe even a little bit easier when you're closer to the floor. Okay, so that's another way to use just a blanket instead. So hopefully that is good information for those of us that, well, I'm not sure I know anybody who's not being pulled forward in life, right? And if our body is rounded and drawn in all the time, these muscles are going to stay very tight, and it's going to pull our alignment, right? And then we're going to try to correct it through the head, which is not where we want to correct it. We're going to scrunch there, right? So we want to correct it through the spine by strengthening. We want to correct it through the front of the body by stretching, and then lengthening so that we're strong in the back, we're open in the front, and we have more of a balance in our upper body so that we can have the most beautiful posture we can for as long as we possibly can. Okay, I hope that helps. I'm just thinking of all the wonderful things that I've learned along the years, just little tips of the trade that just help break up the muscles and just get us unstuck in certain areas. And if you need a little extra in these areas, then I'm hoping that these tips are helping you. Okay? Okay, lovelies. I'll see you next time. Mwah.